In today's post, we're going to talk a little bit about the psychology behind spending and shopping addiction, and we're going to cover 5 simple tips to help you slow your spending down and gain control of your finances. Do you find yourself spending more than you know you should? Are you smuggling items into the house under the guise of, I've had this for years? Is your credit card bill bigger than your savings account, and no matter what you buy, you're always looking for the next thing? If this sounds a little like you, then keep watching.
Oh, hey, Jim.
I swear I've had these for years. In today's world, shopping addiction is considered pretty socially acceptable. We're surrounded by messages telling us to buy and convincing us that buying will lead to happiness. But did you know that spending money doesn't necessarily make us any happier? And research actually shows that the type of spending that makes us the most happy is usually on experiences, not things. Other types of spending that makes us happy is giving to others. Buying a gift for someone else is more likely to give us a longer and enhanced sense of well-being than simply spending on ourselves. When does shopping turn into shopping addiction? Shopping addiction is also known as Oniomania, and it's actually quite common. Often shopping addiction occurs when we use shopping as a way of coping with negative emotions. Have you ever had one of those days where you're feeling sad or low, maybe you're having feelings of inadequacy or jealousy, and based on those feelings, a way to cope with that is to maybe go online and shop or go to the shopping mall and buy something new. Shopping temporarily relieves our stress and makes us feel good because we're getting something new and it's really rewarding and reinforcing. But long term, those same feelings return because we're never really solving the original problem that made us feel that way. And often our feelings intensify because we now feel guilty about overspending. And sometimes when that happens, the cycle of spending continues. Learn to understand the feelings that arise for you when you shop. Are you shopping as a way of avoiding anxiety, or are you using it as a way of procrastinating or maybe avoiding dealing with something difficult? Are you shopping because you're feeling low and you want to feel better? Are you shopping to avoid feelings like jealousy and trying to maybe compete with others? Noticing these feelings is really important. Once we know what's going on in the inside, we can make better choices about strategies that are going to help us to feel better in the longer term. Doing something more constructive, like talking to a friend or therapist, is a really great way to deal with those feelings rather than overspending. Keep a spending diary. Often with spending, our behavior can become a little bit automatic or autopilot. We often spend without really noticing what it is that we're buying and how much money we're spending. By keeping a log or a diary of what you're spending, it's making you accountable, and it's bringing back that autopilot behavior back into our conscious awareness. So every time you buy something, put it on your list and write down what the cost was. And then at the end of the week, go through and review what you've purchased, how much you've spent, and even make a note about whether that purchase was needed, whether it's something you value, and whether it's something you're actually using. This process in itself is going to make you more mindful and conscious of your spending behavior and help you to bring that behavior back under control. Practice delaying gratification. As children, we're constantly told by our parents, no, you can't eat that, no, you can't have that. But when we turn into adults, no one is actually telling us that we need to have limits. So learning to do that for ourselves is really important. You could do this in a variety of different ways. One is having a clear budget and sticking to it. Plan exactly how much it is that you have to spend and know your limits around that. The second is keeping a log of any purchases that you wish to make. If something comes up and you get this strong urge to buy, rather than just going out and buying it, firstly, start by writing down the item that you want to buy, how much it costs, and the reasons why you need it. And then set yourself a goal of waiting a week before you purchase the item. Go back to your list, look at the item and the reasons why you need it, and consider, do I still need this item? Do I really value this item? Consider if buying this actually even aligns with your values. If you're someone who really values health and well-being, maybe spending some money on something like a massage or a holiday is actually going to really align with your values. But potentially if you go out and buy a sparkly handbag, does that actually align with your values or your greater goals? So consider that. Write it down, set yourself a goal, and if a week passes and you still really want the item, that might be time to go ahead and buy it. Consider practicing gratitude. Often when we get very caught up in spending, we stop reflecting on the things that we already have and the things that we're grateful for. By reflecting on what we're grateful for, it forces us to notice the positive things that are going on in our life and reflect on the things that we already have. So each day, at the end of the day, make a list of 3 things that you're grateful for. When you repeat this activity on a daily basis, it's helping you to spend more time noticing the positives rather than focusing on the things that you don't have. Reduce your exposure to environmental triggers that make you want to shop. This might be things like unsubscribing from newsletters for brands where you get notifications about sales. Often, we get these little pop-ups saying sale and we automatically click on it and go in and spend money when we didn't necessarily intend to do that. Unsubscribing from these things can really help. Consider maybe unfollowing Instagrammers or vlog accounts where they're promoting products and that kind of thing influences you to buy. Anything like that that's a trigger for spending is something that you can manage and control by simply not looking at. Another thing to consider is when you go into a shopping mall or you're doing some physical shopping, make sure that you have a list or an intention about what it is that you actually need before you shop. Otherwise, if we walk into a shopping center, it's really tempting to just impulse buy or pick up something we like and go for it. But when that happens, we often end up spending money that we didn't really need to. So have a list in mind, know what it is that you need, and stick to it. If you're finding that you're using shopping as your main strategy to manage stress, look at alternatives to handle these difficult feelings. Avoid shopping when you're feeling depressed. If we're feeling low, we're far more likely to use shopping as an emotional band-aid. If you're feeling a bit down, rather than shopping, plan to engage in some kind of more meaningful activity. So this could be planning to do some exercise, to focus on something like some study or something that's important, or make some time to spend with a friend. These are going to be much healthier coping strategies rather than spending. Whatever you do, avoid the shopping center when you're having a bad day. Remember that reducing your spending takes time. Building any new habit takes a little bit of repetition, and we will have setbacks along the way, and that's okay. Remember to acknowledge the successes you make. Celebrate the small wins and recognize that it's hard to not be able to buy something that you really want to buy. By reflecting on the success that you have, you're more likely to build your confidence and maybe start feeling more in control of your spending. So I hope that these tips helped. Good luck with not shopping, and thanks for watching today's episode of Pop Therapy TV. If you like this post, please give it a thumbs up, and I'd love it if you could subscribe to my channel. Thanks guys, bye!